What is going on, everybody? It is David Palmer, the Leo King, and guess what day it is? It is the night of the winter or summer solstice, wherever you're at on the planet. December 20th into the 21st of 2016. Now, I am in the Los Angeles Pacific time zone, so this solstice is happening right as we enter December 21st, like literally as right as we're coming in. I'm literally talking right before this solstice happens. But tonight, a lot of people reached out to me about this Mercury retrograde. So I want to be live in the chat with people to talk about their questions about this Mercury retrograde. There's a lot surrounding this Mercury retrograde that has been very powerful over the last couple of days. So I want to do a little bit of an observational energy and how it's affecting people and how it's affecting us consciously. Because to be honest with you, this one is pretty, you know what? We've had lots of rare and we've had lots of intense Mercury retrogrades, but this one, we're going to talk about why the intensity is of the intensity that it is. It's a different kind of intensity. And there's actually a lot to go over with all the stuff that's going on. So I want to remind people there is a chat room. If you're watching right now, let's say on your iPhone or whatever, to where you could talk and ask the questions. I will be paying attention to this as much as I can. I will also be doing a presentation aspect where we'll be looking at the chart, we'll be looking at the astrology, and so forth. So first of all, I'm going to say hey in the chat that I'm out there. And Holly just wrote, hope Leanna's doing better. If you all didn't know, I put a post up today that my fiance got really sick this morning, and she's doing much better and resting right now. And we took care of her, and she's all good. So that gave me some time also to come out here to do this because you know what? This is a very powerful time that people are trying to figure out what in the fuck is going on. But that's always Mercury retrograde, the most basic part of it. What the fuck is going on? But this one, you got to remember, has a lot of other aspects to it that are very intense. And I'm just waiting to build up, make sure we got a lot of people. All right, we got over 400 people, so I say we go into it. Now, Mercury retrogrades always bring up a 3-week period where people kind of can trip out. They can trip out about what decisions they got to make in their life and if they should do this or they shouldn't do that. And that's, of course, part of the whole Mercury retrograde deal. But this one's happening in Capricorn. And we're going to look at the chart here. This is the chart for pretty much when Mercury went retrograde, or the day that it went retrograde was Monday. And if you actually look at this Mercury retrograde, right, we had it in the conjunction with Pluto. Now, whenever you're dealing with Pluto, you're dealing with the underworld, okay? I can't spell today. But with this underworld aspect, Mercury's literally stopping on top of Pluto. It's going deep. It's going intense. It's going all powerful. And you know, Pluto is an asshole. The reason why is Pluto doesn't give two shits about what you feel, especially while it's in Capricorn, about how it's going to affect your life, the changes that are going to happen. It cares only about getting you to what's either predestined, number one, because I believe that Capricorn rules the predestined reality we're in. But number two, it doesn't give a crap about how it's going to change your life. It's going to change it whether you like it or not. So there's this aspect that faces our fears around control, about how we feel we should control our life, how we feel that, you know what this Mercury retrograde actually truly is revealing on a deeper spot? Is your issue of control. You have an issue. You have an underlying deep underworld whether you want to call that the hell that you live in. Because to be honest with you, a lot of this Mercury retrograde is all about hell. I hate to be honest with everyone. And actually I'd love to be honest. Sorry. I do. But the hell that you put yourself in, the hell that you face in your life, the hell that you might feel and somewhat alone being in sometimes. The reason why I say hell is you got to remember that Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Okay, here's the glyph for Saturn, all right? Number one, Saturn always looks like a boat, doesn't it? With its mast, and then it's got the front of the boat, right? Have you ever noticed that about Saturn? Here it is right here. That was a horrible drawing, but... so it's got this ship aspect to it. But the reason why it rules hell, technically, is because it is at the solstice point. And it is at the solstice point of winter when the sun literally is at its weakest spot in tropical astrology, okay? So it really rules this spot where the sun is at its lowest point. Saturn also is the ruler of technically hell or the devil as well. Not to mean that Capricorns are devilish or hellish or that they're bad people or anything like that. We're talking about just the signs and their characters, okay? But the control issues that you are going through in your life that lead you to a hell that somehow you're addicted to. Why are we all addicted to our own hell? That's a question that I think that is coming up on this Mercury retrograde. And the reason why I say that is because Mars, on the same day that we had the Mercury retrograde, Mars entered Pisces. And look at this pile up in Pisces. Oh my gosh. That is a lot of Pisces. And Mars, which represents our ego, our identity, where we push, is starting to conjunct what we call the South Node in astrology. So see that right there? We'll do a little reversal. See at 5 degrees Pisces right there, we've got the South Node. Boom, we got Mars that just entered Pisces. That means Mars is literally heading into one of the most sensitive spots in the whole entire universe. The nodes are these invisible knots in space that define exactly where eclipses would happen if the sun and the moon were to meet there. So whenever you have Mars enter this space, it's explosive, it's intense, it's karmic release. And when it's in Pisces, these are addictions, these are subconscious, these are parts of our brain that we don't even realize get triggered. And when you combine that with a Mercury retrograde on top of Pluto, which represents the fears, the underworld that you have over control, and these two signs together, believe it or not, are trying to help us get back to a life that's better for us and more spiritually cleansed. But the only way for that to happen is you're going to have to go through the baptism. You're going to have to go through facing your control shit. And somebody brought this up today on my Facebook thread about Mars and Pisces. And I thought it was hilarious and it was very intelligent. I really want to say who the source is, but I get so many notifications that I don't, that it would actually be very hard to find it right now. And it was a man. But he said that Mars and Pisces is especially with all the Pisces that's going on. So, right, we got all this Pisces, right? So there's a lot of water, right? Okay, see that? There's 4 energies in Pisces. Plus, that's all the water we got. But anyway, he says that it's like this violent fluid aspect, right? And it was interesting because my cat threw up right when Mars came into Pisces. My fiance was throwing up. My dad's been throwing up. He got the same stomach flu in the same day today. I found out. I was like, wow, Mars in Pisces is, and especially with the South Node here, there's this kind of violent, it's like a kind of an upheaval energy. And then we had the Berlin attack. And then we had the shooting in Turkey. whenever Mars ingresses into a sign, ingress means enters, you're always going to get an extremely powerful bam. Okay? Now, Pisces isn't the strongest of signs, but the fact that there is a lot of concentrate in Pisces, okay? So just like when you were a kid, when I was a kid, my mom used to go buy the Minute Maid frozen, like, little cylinders that you would flock into the thing, and then you would put the water in, and it'd be like frozen orange juice or frozen concentrate. That concentrate right now is where Mars is hitting, and it's hitting Pisces. What does Pisces rule? Water, fluid. So that would explain throwing up. But that was a fun thing to talk about. Let's talk about some more serious things here. This is where your subconscious stuff really starts flying. So part of also getting sick, a lot of people have been sick. I've been reading about sick. The moon's in Virgo. Look at this. As Mercury retrograde came in over the last day, look at that. Moon in Virgo on the North Node in Virgo. So, of course, health-related stuff, very powerful. Then if we move it a day, hold on, let me actually go. We're going to have to clear this. Hold on one second, because this was what I wrote on the horoscopes for the sun sign people on the app. But here was today's horoscope, okay? And look what just happened in the last couple of hours. We literally just had the moon in Virgo square the sun at the last degree of Sagittarius, sun-moon square. So that's even more Virgo at its most intensity. You're not going to get more intense Virgo than that, okay? Emotionally. So this is upheavals, especially with people's stress, with trying to figure out so many things in life and trying to keep the boat moving or trying to keep life moving through crazy, weird shit going on. I'm just going to be honest. Like this Mercury retrograde's like, I got to keep it all going, even though I'm like going through some weird shit. Because Mars already, when it enters Pisces rules weirdness. It rules, the other side, the spiritual dimension. It rules psychotic aspects. That was definitely the Mars or the Turkey incident. That was definitely, that guy like lost it. Okay. Pisces rules a lot of your stuff that's hidden away and subconscious. And when you're dealing with Pluto as well, which deals with a lot of hidden and subconscious stuff, which is in the middle of this Mercury retrograde, this is going to mean that this is going to be intense. It's going to bring up a lot of stuff. It's going to bring out a lot of stuff. It doesn't care how it's going to bring it out. It's going to not be easy. It's going to be harsh. I'm just going to be honest with you. There is not a lot of compassion rolling around right now, unfortunately. Just going to be honest. And this is the week of Christmas. So like it's interesting. And Hanukkah too. This is a week where we all have to find a way to, with the intensity and the harshness, and then the sun's coming into Capricorn in a couple hours, folks. That's why I'm kind of here tonight. Everybody asked if I was going to do a solstice party for spiritual dance music. I might do it tomorrow. But this is a time where it's like, man, the astrology, I'm going to be real, has not a lot of compassionate, soft aspects. It is hard. It is razor edge. It is tough. It is dirty. It is not extremely clean right now. It is not simple. And the reason why I say that is because Mars is heading towards this south node, whether we like it or not, in the next week and a half, okay? And towards Neptune, remember, which is Neptune's home sign of Pisces, which means that whole weirdness, subconscious, psychotic, crazy, wild ride, slippery slope is happening through a Mercury retrograde through January 8th. We just begun this cycle, folks. The other aspect is, let's look at the solstice, which happens exactly at 2:54 a.m. Pacific, 5:54 a.m. Eastern. Okay. Oh, we got to write on it. That would probably help. Okay. I'm going to just show you guys why it's harsh. The reason why it's harsh is, of course, the sun's now going to be in Capricorn on this solstice, which is already not an easy sign to be in. Plus, Mercury's retrograde in Capricorn. Plus, it's on Pluto. The main thing, though, is Jupiter is starting to oppose Uranus in cardinal signs. And see that? These are two humongous planets. So whenever they say the whole battles of the gods, right? You got Jupiter, you got Zeus, right? You got Uranus, okay? This huge planet. And they're both opposing each other now in cardinal signs, which are very direct, very forward moving, in the sign of Aries and Libra. And actually, Libra isn't a soft sign. It's very, people think that Libras are softies. They're not softies, okay? There's intensity in Libra, believe it or not. It's why Saturn actually is exalted in Libra. But when you got those two opposing, at the same time that Mercury's retrograding everything I'm telling you about, Mars is now coming into Pisces, and now you've got Mercury retrograde and Pluto in the middle of a Jupiter-Uranus opposition. Look at this, you guys. Here, let's do this. There we go. Hold on. Let's get this thing right. Okay. Look at how they're all squaring. This is the Pluto-Uranus square, which we've been going through for the last 4 years. And so there's pressure. And it's only getting stronger. And Uranus, during this week of Christmas, is stopped. Which means that the planet Uranus, which gives us the breakthroughs, it gives us the feeling of freedom and figuring things out, is dead stopped. It's dead stopped. So when you come into a solstice in Capricorn, which rules the jail, the prison, the kind of overworked slave, that's what Capricorn rules, but it also rules, the ambition to get where you're going in life. So it's got a good side. But the issue is you're dealing with a Uranus stopping while the sun comes into Capricorn, while Mercury's retrograde in Capricorn. There's a feeling like, am I ever going to be able to get out of this? Like, it just kind of feels like it's going to be like I'm stuck, but things are moving, and how am I going to get through all this? Like, is there going to be a breakthrough moment? And that breakthrough moment doesn't come till after Christmas. The other reason why I'm saying that this is going to be a little bit difficult, I think that actually the energy will kind of calm down through Christmas, like a little bit, okay? But like, especially, let's say Wednesday. I mean, you got to watch the app to see, but the reason why is look at the moon. The moon is going to now enter into this crazy space over Wednesday, Thursday, especially Thursday. So Thursday's looking pretty crazy. And then the moon's going to square, of course, Mercury and Pluto. So it's not like it's easy. Then where does the moon come on Friday? Scorpio. Where is the moon at its worst place? Well, second to worst place. Scorpio. It's at detriment in Scorpio. So, or actually, wait, it's at fall. It's at its worst spot, okay? Or detriment, sorry. It's not at a good spot. So, this astrology is just like, wow. Woo! I don't know if I could use a better expression. And so we come into this solstice period where it's a little, it's funky, it's difficult, it's not easy. There's a lot that the universe is asking for us to do, which is grow and know that a breakthrough is coming, and it's going to feel like a zit is going to pop when Uranus goes direct. It's going to feel like a zit will pop because it feels like things are building up. Mercury, when it retrogrades on Pluto, means it's going to the underworld, and it's going to cross over again, folks. In January, once the retrograde's done, Mercury comes back direct. It's got to go through Pluto again in January. I told everybody on my last, if you still watch my Uncuts on the app, but I told everybody that the portal ended as this Mercury retrograde started, which means a new portal began. And this new portal is, the positive is it's taking things from the past that we've been through for the last portal, which I would say would have been like the last 4 or 5 months, and really starting to make those things move forward in greatness. The difficult spiritual part, though, of this portal that has just opened with this Mercury retrograde and so forth is how tough the universe is going to ask. It's a master's test. Like, we're going through a master's program because of the fact that we have all been going through this Pluto-Uranus test for, let's give or take, if you want to be extreme, Uranus came into Aries in 2010, since 2010, but let's go for the last 4 to 5 years, the master's test. And here it is, Jupiter, right? Uranus, Pluto, Mercury, retrograde, in the big cardinal T-square with Pluto, Uranus. It hasn't been this intense since the 60s, in 64 through 67, when Pluto Uranus conjuncted opposed Saturn back then. And there's this wave of all that stuff coming up. If you look at what just happened in the last 4 to 5 years, the history books will be written forever with the stuff. Not only this election was just like a cherry on the top, but if you just look at all the events that happened through, since the moment that Pluto actually technically entered Capricorn in 2008, it has been a wild storm, and there's a huge master's test coming. And people who are living in la-di-da land, people who are living in like, oh, life's just easy and I don't have to do the work. This is where they're getting stomped hard. This is the great splitting of the earth energetically happening. And it's here. This Mercury retrograde did it. The last Mercury retrograde was in Capricorn. This one's on it again. And this one's happening with Pluto to start, where the last Mercury retrograde in Capricorn this time last year was where Pluto it ended with Pluto. This time it's starting with Pluto. So this time it's starting intense. It'll end easier. But the test is, what have you learned over the last 4 to 5 years to be bolder, to be stronger, to bring peace into your life, to do the work, to not be subconscious and fall into your old subconscious traps, to not, and to learn to be tough and to know how to be tough. Being tough is not easy. They don't teach that in spirituality. They teach kumbaya, they teach meditate, they teach some of the tools of how to avoid the toughness. But I think what's so interesting in the spiritual community is there's nobody out there giving people tools on how to be tough and get through the hardness. You know, I think a lot of the spiritual community tries to kumbaya you out, or, you know, and trust me, I get through prayer. I get through calling my angels. I get through all of my spiritual modalities. But there's nothing that can teach you more than anything about how to learn when it gets tough, to be strong, to know that, to learn how to give compassion, to listen to your inner guidance system, to listen to the universe, to take a look at the astrology, to take a look at your chart, to understand deeper aspects of what's going on, and make the harder choices in your life instead of avoid the harder choices in your life. You know, they do this whole, well, just go meditate and back away from it. I use meditation as a preparation for going into the storm. Like, okay, I'm about to go into something. It's not like, and of course I might do a meditation of after, like I meditated last night. There was a lot of stuff going on, you know, animal sick, fiance sick, just work, craziness, people not understanding this, people not understanding that. And I'm like, okay, I got to meditate through this. But then there was another part of me going, I got to pray and I got to meditate to get to what's coming tomorrow. I already know it's going to be crazy in the astrology. I knew that this sun square moon for a 4-day cycle is extreme. I didn't even talk about that just now. I talked about it in the last video live I did, but the sun is squaring the moon for 4 days, folks. The moon's in Virgo for 2.5 days while the sun was in Sag, and then boom, the sun comes into Capricorn at night, and guess where the moon goes? Libra for the next 2.5 days. So it's like a 4.5, 5-day technical sun-moon square. That is like extreme difficult test. Now, I will say that I think it will get easier, this Mercury retrograde, as we go on through it. But, on a week that we usually really want to take off, there is no such thing. The universe is having us stay busy, help other people, keep the things going. You're not going to be able to just stop. And this is some master shit, just to be real. Master shit. This is the master's program. We're going to take your questions right next after this commercial break. I'll see you in 1 sec.
The Leo King app is the world's first and leading video and notification astrology horoscope app for iPhone, Android, and computer. Get daily spiritual videos and addictingly accurate notifications alongside weekly sun sign horoscopes, tarot videos, and exciting new age entertainment videos by celebrity astrologer and TV personality David Palmer, the Leo King. Join today. You have nothing to lose with a 7-day free trial and wake up to astrology like you've never seen before.
Wake up to astrology like you've never seen before.
Yes. Wake up to astrology like you've never seen before. Make sure that you get the app. That is the way to get all my daily videos. If you want me to be there every day, let you know what's going on and be prepared, let me know. So I'm here to take your questions right now. And remember, there's a lot of people in here. Right now, it looks like we got 691 people. So boom. Let's see what we got here. Somebody, and I want to say, when it comes to questions, I got to say this, all right? I do not talk about sun signs. So if you want to know, what's going on for Libras? What's going on for Aries? How do I fix this partnership and he's a this and she's a that? That's what readings are for. But I'm here to help and answer questions that will help all of us out. All signs out, all people out using the astrological tools and what's going on. But I'm in the chat right now, so if you got it going on, let's see what we got going on here. So, what if Mars is in... Okay, that's another personal thing. No personal stuff. So, if it's like, oh, I got Mars in my chart, how does that affect me? It's like, that's not going to help the other 688 people in here. A lot of people asking personal stuff. Let's see. Good question from Tiff Magno, I think it is. With this Mercury retrograde, will it bring finalized karmic debts? Well, in some ways, yes. In some ways, no. I would say that it depends on what you're talking about karmically. Are we talking about relationships? We're talking about Mercury and we're talking about Pluto with Capricorn. I think that this is bringing up parts of yourself, control issues about yourself that you have karmically paid your debt to, that you can release, that you can transform, you can change yourself, you can let go. Now, there's parts of yourself in the way that you control your life, the way that you go about your journey in your life that you can let go of. And there's a karmic debt you've paid there. You've paid that debt. You've lived that life. This is also, remember, Pluto halfway through Capricorn. Exactly. It's at 15 degrees if you look at the astrology, right? So let's go a little display here. So let's actually erase a bunch of this stuff. Pluto is at now 16 degrees, but it's gone through halfway through the sign. So there's a feeling deep inside everybody on the planet that they've reached a crossing point. It's time to see this. Here's 16 Pluto. that we've reached halfway through this karmic zone, this debt we've had to pay, based off your control system, the way you control your life. That's what's ending. That's what's changing. You're finally getting to the true understanding of it with this Mercury retrograde, and it's helping out a lot. I'm looking at questions, by the way, folks. There's a lot of questions here. 2017, I'm going to be doing, of course, my year-end video that I always do, and that will be free, of course, to the public. I do that every year. I do a long video. It's about a 20 to 25-minute video talking about 2017, the transits and the times that I think are going to be the most intense. This year, I'm going to do more predictions because I didn't do enough last year. I did more just a spiritual talk. People want to know more predictions, so that'll be coming up. Plus, I'm doing the Astrology Hub Summit for the new year, January 13th through 14th. And I'll be picking a certain section. So that's when I'll be talking about 2017. Okay, somebody asked, what's your take on all that's happening now in upcoming North Node Leo transit? And I think that this is a great question because I think that this is important to see. And if we look on, here's today's chart, right? So here's the North Node right now in Virgo. It's only 5 degrees away from Leo. And it's going to come to 29 Leo. But what is at 29 Leo, 0 Virgo is the star Regulus. At the time that the North Node enters into Leo at the end of April, I think it's April 29th, around there, it will also be the completion of the Venus retrograde, and there'll be a lot of things that have happened at the end of that. The thing about what we're going through now and what the star Regulus is and what this transition period is in time, I believe that this transition of the nodes is going to be very easy for some and very difficult for most people. Leo is the hardest sign in the universe to master. It is easy to be a planet. It is not easy to be a star. And it is forcing people to follow their heart no matter what the world tells them it is. And with this Neptune in Pisces, with this South Node that it went over Neptune, there is this feeling that inside of us all, we're afraid to live the life we really want to live. We feel like we should do this, or other people want us to do this, or the way that the world says to do things, we should do it this way. Even influences of the other world, or I need to help these people. You gotta this is going to be a time where people are going to have a last aspect, because I think it's no irony that the North Node will enter Leo in 2017 in April with Saturn in Sagittarius, with Uranus in Aries, with all that fire. We're going to have eclipses in Leo, in Aquarius. This is huge. This is also the transition of the age of Aquarius. This will be the first time that the nodes are in this area while we are switching into this age. So this is going to be the official age of Aquarian kind of energy. I did a whole entire movie about the age of Aquarius and the age of Pisces. You can watch it at ageofdeceptionmovie.com, where I describe in detail, I do a full lecture, 4-hour lecture about how intense it is and how to determine the time frames of switching ages. Now, it takes a long time, and there's a weird aspect where it's either every 2,000 years or it's every 2,000 years and then the 300 years that follow that 2,000 years. But this will be the first time that we're going to have the North Node and the South Node in Leo Aquarius, which is where the new age is starting to begin. I think that this is going to bring up a lot of stuff about people, whether or not they have the courage to be who they really want to be, break apart from the world, break apart from what other people are telling them to do, really find their inner power and strength, really find a way to help the world, really find a way to be empowered or be part of the sheep. And it's going to be very difficult for people to leave the sheep, It's going to be, I think, even more difficult because the moon, when Saturn enters Capricorn, the North Node will be in Leo, and it's like there's going to be some traps in the world, especially with corporations and with big business and with like, go this way. Everybody else is doing it, even though you're going to be like, I shouldn't go that way. I have to go where my heart's telling me and the courage to go my own direction. And I think that's just a little snippet of what's coming up. Somebody asked, got the keys to my dream home today. Can great things happen during this retrograde? And I think great things can happen during every retrograde. I'm seeing amazing things happen in my life during this retrograde. But, it does come with a lot of spiritual consciousness at high degrees hitting you really hard. And so it's, of course, an enjoyable moment. It just is going to be that there's going to be a lot of other stuff that you're being revealed with. And, of course, having a new home is a very external thing. A Mercury retrograde on top of Pluto is dealing with much more internal things. So no matter how much out positive things are looking in your outer world, your inner world's going through a massive turmoil and a massive internal storm right now, especially with this big electrical current of Uranus stopping and ready to get turned on. Literally, it's like a fuse popped, and they're changing the fuse right now, and you can feel it. And when that thing turns on, it's going to be really radical. So I think it'll be great to enjoy your home, but underneath, there's a lot more going on to deal with. So I think there's great things to enjoy. I just think that there's a lot more going on inside than on the outside right now. So somebody says, tell us, ... They say, we just get the things easy or we go under the bed. I'm assuming they're saying, do we just run under the bed when shit gets weird, or do we actually face it? I mean, I'm assuming that's what they're saying. I think that the more you hide under your bed right now, you're going to realize that that's where you feel empty, lost, and alone and weird. The second you get engaged in things, the second you do things, even when you're not feeling right, even when shit's not going the best, even when things are getting crazy, it's being in the moment, being in the cycle, being in the system and moving around the universe, getting the blood pumping, getting your life, facing the fear. The life is easier. And I think that that's a lot of what's coming. I think hiding under the sheets with a Mars in Pisces, and with all this Pisces, and with a final solar eclipse coming in Pisces in February on the 26th, this is what we're learning to not do anymore, is hide under the bed sheets. We've been doing that for way too long. With all the Scorpio energy of Saturn and all the eclipses and the North Node in Scorpio and all, we've talked about the Scorpio shit for years that's been going on. This is about how do we get out of this kind of sluggish, fearful, I want to hide, I don't want to do these things, I'm over it now, and move into invigorating ourselves again. Somebody asked, how do we use the solstice in our favor? I think that's a really good question. How we use the solstice in our favor is remembering that at every solstice point, this is the peeking out of the sun. And that this is also a moment, especially when it's in Capricorn, for you to really start to plan your life accordingly. And this is a great time for you to really start to understand and take the time to plan the direction that you want to take your life. Where does the ship want to go? What is the direction you want to take your life? And it's a maturity time. The solstice always brings out a maturity. It's the maturity of the sun, literally, as it peaks out and it dies. It's a maturity. And this is a mature moment for us all, especially Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, especially on Pluto. There's a maturity aspect to all this. But this is also, if you actually look at the astrology, which I want to show you guys here real quick. Saturn is at 20 degrees. It is now at the last decan of Sagittarius. It has finally reached the last part. How ironic, during this Mercury retrograde on this solstice, Saturn has reached, which Saturn is ruled by Capricorn, which is where the sun is right now. And it's at the third decan, the last aspect of Sagittarius. And it's in the sign of the guru, the master, and the teacher. So that's why I'm saying that this is a very intense time. And I think emotionally learning how to deal with stuff, because opposite of Capricorn is Cancer emotionally. So I think that we use this solstice about maturing our emotions, maturing our life, making very difficult, mature decisions, and learning to let go of the old control we had over those things is the mature thing to do. And by learning to go with the flow, but not, lose ourselves at the same time too far in the flow. It's a weird aspect. It's like using the flow when it's at the right direction. And then when it's starting to go a little bit too far left or a little too far right, and it's feeling a little off, you get back on track, I mean, it's like, I used to play this game, and I know it sounds so corny, but I was a kid of the 80s when I was young. So it's like there was this game called Tom Sawyer, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, and like you get in the raft, and the whole thing is like you go down the raft, and there's little rocks that are on the river, and it was on Nintendo, right? And it was very hard because there was things coming at you, and you had to throw rocks, but at the same time you had to avoid the rock so you don't burn or your raft doesn't blow up. This is a time where it's like making decisions while going with the flow, but not losing yourself too much, because if you go too far right, you'll run up on shore and you'll bug out. If you go far left, you'll bug out. And if you're also not paying attention and going with the flow and going around the rocks, which the rocks on this river in life right now are subconscious old patterns where it's like, I don't want to run into that old pattern again. I'm trying to be mature now and go around them now and get through them to the other side and see what life looks like at the end of this river and see where it's going to take me now. I think that that's a big aspect of this. So I hope that helps about how to help yourself with the solstice better. So many. What is a good tarot card to describe this energy? One of the best questions of the night. Let's see here. If I had to pick a tarot card for this energy, it's a good one. You got me sitting here thinking for a second. In my opinion, too, right? And it's got to be major arcana, not minor, probably, because it's a major time. I would pick... the Star card. And the reason why I would pick the Star card is we're going to actually look at the Star card right now and describe why. So give me a second to actually get the card out. All right, so okay, Star card, and we want to do paper. Sure, we'll do it on the charts. Okay, so here's the Star card, right? The reason why I would pick this is... okay. The reason why I picked the Star card right now is, number one, there's a vulnerability aspect. Naked, okay? There's the vulnerable spot. Two, it's always... the Star card comes after the Tower. And even though I think that this Mercury retrograde on top of Pluto was the Tower. It was like everything in my old life has crumbled And now I have to step into a new world. The star card always comes after the tower. And this is not a tower time. This is a time where it's like starting from a new feeling in myself. My old stuff I don't want to go back towards. And I have to follow the stars. Now, there are 7 stars here. These are the 7 sisters, which are in Taurus, okay? See that? And they are all in Taurus. Now, there's no planets in Taurus right now. But what this is asking for is to follow the light. That this is a time where the light will guide us. The 7 sisters are the Palladians, okay? And this is a time where it's time to follow that light. This is also a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-pointed star, which means that 8 also is the ruler of Saturn. But what's interesting about this time is that the 7 sisters are telling us to follow our destiny, to have it come from a vulnerable and at a pure space, and to not go backwards into that terrible place we once were, but to move forward in a pure and a great new place where we can be and that we can develop better in our life. And it's interesting that there's water in this, and this actually does have a water bear aspect, which is Aquarius, which is reinvention, but this also has a Pisces aspect with all the water that's happening right now, that, you know, we need to renew ourselves, even though we're starting new. There's kind of a renewal aspect, and I think that there's this needing to, you know, take the shower. It's like, have the baptism happen. You know, if I had to pick 2 cards, the second card I pick would be like the Hierophant card. Like, this is an extreme time of traditions changing, traditions that you're going to come into as well that follow the star card. If nobody's ever seen the Hierophant before, the Hierophant is a very, very, very good card because Hierophant card. It deals with traditions. It deals with spirituality. It deals with getting on track. It deals with being in the right kind of place in that aspect. And this card also has the pillars behind it, which are very sturdy. And the pillars of God, I would say, that are very important for us to follow right now. And the traditions that we carry, and this is also what holds the keys, even though this is the keys of the Vatican, right? But there's an interesting aspect to this card to where we are looking towards a higher source in our life to give us guidance, not only with the star card I just brought up, but also with this card, and to build a new tradition, to build a tradition of following this new self that we're creating, that we're letting go of a really hellish personality, control issue side of ourself, dark parts of ourself, subconscious parts of ourself. This is Capricorn and Pisces. These are the 2, I'm going to be dead honest. These are 2, and not that this has to do with the people that are Capricorns or Pisces, but this is dealing with the most difficult signs in the zodiac. You're dealing with Neptune and Saturn. I mean, you're literally dealing with letting go of your toxic waste spiritually. You're literally dealing with the difficulty of building a structure while you're dealing with toxic waste that you're letting go of in your life. Things that you know need to fall apart. Things that you know you need to end. So it's a very intense alignment to go on right now. And so that would be what cards I would say kind of go with what I see in the astrology. Like if I were to actually give it a card. Yeah, the video is still live. It says broadcast interrupted. Well, at least I'm still live here on here. It looks like Facebook wanted to shut me down. No, it says we're still live. It's funny because, sometimes they try and shut you down. So I'm still here, everyone. Okay. Yeah, and we got over 700 people still here, so we're looking good. So anyway, my last thoughts before I'm going to go tonight home. We got 9 minutes left. I wanted to do an hour broadcast tonight. Final thoughts on all this. There's definitely a lot coming on this Christmas, which I'll talk about in my uncut, which I got to go home and film, by the way. So I'll be talking a lot about what's coming up this week in this week's uncut. Of course, watch the dailies and what's going on. Sun sign horoscopes. I go very deep into detail on how this is affecting you and your sun sign. But what I've said in a couple videos, what I've said in my uncut, what I've said in my last live videos is that from now until, especially the springtime, is no easy cookie. There's a lot of stuff going on. And it's different, you know, like it's not Saturn stuff anymore. It's Pluto Uranus stuff again. It's stuff we were dealing with in 2012, 2013, 2014, and 2015. And I know nobody wants to go backwards, and that's why this is a time to build new structures, new traditions, and cleanse a lot of that shit we went through. But there's a grandmaster test to get through this portal of that energy in 2017. So some people might not be ready to have some of those old feelings come back. And that's why you have to kind of rebuild a new structure, a new tradition. You know, that's why the Hierophant card also deals with traditions, religious traditions. You know, there's something about going to church every Sunday. There's something about praying every night. There's something about doing a meditation every day. You know, there's something about all that stuff that kind of helps with whatever you're going through right now. But I think that people need to be prepared that from now until, especially, I would say, until that April 29th, so much is going to happen so fast. You got to be ready. Once the North Node comes into Leo, the eclipses are over and the Venus retrograde is over and Mars is out of Aries and comes through Taurus and chills out a little bit. We will be feeling a lot like, wow, that was a major test. Now let's really rock 2017. And I think that there's going to be major great things to rock 2017 with from now until then, but there's going to also be at the same time facing a lot of old stuff that hasn't cleared yet. And there's still some stuff that we have to clear, unfortunately. So anyway, I hope everyone enjoyed the broadcast. Trying to think of what else to say. Somebody wrote that they want me to answer an email about the app. I don't do any app stuff at all. There's a whole team. I am a third party with the app. The David Palmer, the Leo King, does not do the accounting. If you have an issue with iPhone or Android, those are through those stores. So you control your own subscription. If you bought and it says Leo King in bold letters on your bill statement and you have an issue, that was through web and you do it at info@looksec.com. I do not know your account. I wish I knew we're at like 197,000 downloads right now. I really, really wish, not all of those people subscribe, of course, or I'd be balling. But I'm just saying, like, that's how many downloads are of the app. And it's like, that's 197,000 emails. So please, if you have an issue, that's where you deal with it. They give you a thing, a ticket, and they deal with you. But 95%, read all the comments of people helping me bitch slap the people who just don't get it. Like, you're in control of the app. yourself. And I don't want to say I get frustrated, but I'll be real. Like, I do get frustrated that you use my live time and doing a good work to nail me about a situation that you haven't figured out by just sending an email to the place that it says to send an email to. Like, so that's just the truth. I wish I could help you. But there's so many people that love the app and so many people that have no problems and so many people who go through the process. Even on the app, it says contact us. Push the contact us thing. It's pretty simple. So they will deal with you. You know what I mean? So anyway, somebody even just wrote, your app customer service has stepped up their game. I literally screamed at all the app tech support people and literally had those crazy meetings. Why do you think I'm a stress case? When you got 200,000 downloads and you got people subscribing every day in the hundreds and sometimes the thousands, it's pretty nuts. I don't think people realize that the money that gets made through the app has to pay for the servers, pay for the app itself, pay to make it going, pay to make all the video. I mean, it's a very stressful business. And especially when you're dealing with people for $5.99 a month in the hundreds of thousands of people, it's crazy. And I think people need to realize that, it's like, if you have a Facebook problem, do you think Facebook writes you back? You know how long it took Facebook to write me back when I had an issue? 5 months. They got back to me. Like, that's just the world of mass social media now when you have hundreds of thousands of people. It's like they can't just get to you tonight. Like, they're not going to write you back right away. My people, though, will usually get back to you within a day to 2 days max. So... And that's pretty remarkable. Does somebody really think I'm not being nice? Because I really do not want to end my live broadcast tonight in an argument with somebody telling me to be nice to people. That's right. You can't have too many irons in the fire. You do lose your focus. And that's one thing that, trust me, there's a million other things I could be doing, But I choose to help people every day. And the best way that I can do it is for $5.99 a month. That was like, after 5 years of figuring out a system to where there's people who have no money, who are broke, people who have a lot of money, and I can reach the collective consciousness. And still, I did this video for free for an hour, and we're here with you and gave you everything. I still do that as much as I can in every week. So anybody who wants to give me shit, you can seriously fuck yourself. For real. And I don't feel bad about saying that. Because there's just too much bullshit in the spiritual community. Way too many fluffers and not enough doers. Way too many people just letting people stomple all over them. And I'm not going to let that shit happen. And you know what? That's Mercury and Capricorn. Sorry to say, you got to learn to be tough. That was what my whole message was today. I have to be tough to deal with people who are going to give me shit on my own thing. And that's just part of being in the public, but that's life. But I'm not afraid. If you have shit with me and you have an issue with the app, then you write to the app people. And I have done everything I can, and it's all over. People are all being helped. But usually it's a personal issue. If you read these people's crazy stuff, and why they can't get back to them, it's because you're not reasonable, you're either being crazy, or it's like you really aren't paying attention either. It's like people can only help you so much. They say one of the most stressful jobs in the world are 911 operators and people who are behind the phone at customer service. And you know why? Is because everybody takes out all their shit on customer service. And I am one of those people. You know, if I have something go wrong on my phone bill or something, I'm like screaming at him and I have to catch myself like, whoa, I just screamed at that person and let all my shit out on that person just because I know that they have no way to come back at me. But you know what? My people don't deserve that. And no people deserve that. And I shouldn't even do that to other people's customer service people because I do that shit too. I'm not going to bullshit you and say I don't do that. Like, I take my shit out on those people too. And all the people that are complaining that have customer service issues are people taking out all their shit on those people. That is, just go look at any Yelp review. It's crazy. That's how people are. That's where people let all their shit out. That's where they let it out. I'm gonna end with the best question of the night from Damian Davis. How many layers are left of the 2012 Ascension clearing? I think the layers are so deep. If you just study time wave 0, we are in the 0 point. I mean, I think it's unimaginable, the layers, but the one good thing is they're all happening at once, Damien. And so I don't think that it's about how many layers separately. I think they're all happening at the same time. I just think that technically, based off of galactic alignment, it's like, and a new age shifting, I think until the new age shifts, I think until we get out of Pluto Aquarius, personally. That's where I think that's when it'll be done, you know, but we'll see. So I think that's a long time away, though, to be honest with you. Anyway, thanks so much for being here tonight on my lovely show, Late Night with Leo King, talking astrology, doing the Mercury Retrograde stuff. Hope this helped about the Mercury Retrograde and answering some questions. And I love you. I don't hate you. And all those people out there that are unhappy, I'm sorry. I can't make you happy. And I think part of the lesson that of North Node and Leo is going to be is you can't make everyone happy. You got to make yourself happy first. And you try to make everyone happy, and guess what? You're going to fail. It's impossible to make everybody happy. So, but we can do the best we can. Anyway, thanks so much for all your support. I truly appreciate it. And I will see you guys all later. Hopefully see you guys on the Leo King app. Thanks so much for everything. And I will see you later.
The Leo King app is the world's first and leading video and notification astrology horoscope app for iPhone, Android, and computer. Get daily spiritual videos and addictingly accurate notifications alongside weekly sun sign horoscopes, tarot videos, and exciting new age entertainment videos by celebrity astrologer and TV personality David Palmer, the Leo King. Join today. You have nothing to lose with a 7-day free trial and wake up to astrology like you've never seen before.
Wake up to astrology like you've never seen before.